Freddy and the Eights. We are back.
That's not 6 to go. Play on.
Come on.
Bang. See you later, champ.
Call an ambulance. Still going. Tony Staggs. Happy's on his way again.
Sidestep him, Cole. He's on the ground.
Oh, go, Freddy.
What's going through his brain?
Oh, Andrew John. What has happened there? Oh, wow. Big Papa.
Stop it. He's taking the mickey.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I've got nothing. Wow.
Wowee, there it is.
Hello, welcome to another jam-packed edition of Freddy and the Eighth with the two aforementioned gentlemen. Freddy, g'day.
Hello, Matt.
And Eighth, happy birthday.
You
kept
didn't
that
know,
one
did you?
quiet, didn't you?
I was talking to Murray about it.
Yep.
I remember when you were a young whippersnapper making your way in rugby league,
Really?
and now you're on a downward spiral.
Oh, yeah. Been that way for a long, long time.
How old are
You've got
you?
a job interview today, I
47?
see, as well.
47, yeah. Got my lucky socks on.
Happy birthday, mate.
They're the lucky socks when I get home tonight, if you know what I mean, Kate. 47. Remember that beer ad? They said you never make it. Said I wouldn't get to 40. Well,
Did you have a little celebration at the weekend down in Hobart?
yes. Yes, I did. Quiet. Very quiet,
Did you
unfortunately.
enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it was good.
It's a
What
lovely part of the
great
world.
spot. Yeah, because I had to do magic round. There's a bride, so I actually said that was on Instagram, and I said to the lovely Kate, I was going to stay up in Brisbane and get rugby league drunk Saturday, Sunday, but I decided to come down and go to the Mona in Tasmania. Said I wish I was in Caxton Street right now.
Have a
that
look
was
at
the
this,
reaction.
Freddie.
That's.
I mean, that looks like it's a country road catalogue, doesn't it?
That is
Very
good.
metrosexual.
It reminds me of the time we went to the World Cup in England.
Oh yes.
You're a very handsome man, Andrew.
Oh yes.
Looking sharp, bro.
So did you get down to Salamanca for
Yeah,
a meal?
I did actually.
Customs House
A
Hotel?
couple of Kate's friends who used to be members at their gym. Look at the bride. Look at the Eskimo in the middle. I pulled an Eskimo. No wonder she's got a smile on her face. She's with the Eighth all weekend, away from the kids.
I'm glad you had a good time. Did
Look at that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Was it that cold?
It was freezing. It was. Remember in England when you get that
Yeah.
that cold that cuts you to the bone? It was as cold.
Looks like ice behind you.
But I've got to say, it was Hobart is just a cracking spot.
Yeah.
Geez, I'd like to spend a month down there in Tasmania. So
In summer, it's glorious because it stays light till about 9:30 at night. So you can be out there having a few beers and you look at, and I'm not exaggerating, you look at your watch and go, crikey, it's
Yeah.
still 9 o'clock.
So what time does the sun come up?
I think it comes up pretty early.
Five
Oh, yeah,
o'clock.
yeah. That matters the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a
That's
great,
mattered.
an absolute cracking place.
Very good. I'm glad
And I
you
actually got to
enjoyed yourself.
watch the rugby league. I walked into a pub there for lunch and the footy was on.
Did you get recognised in Hobart?
No, even better.
Just as well. Joey will name his Origin, New South Wales Origin bench later on in this episode. Gus always says he picked his bench first, so it's very important. New segment,
Righto.
Gibberer of the Week. We're going to take your nominations for Gibberer of the Week each week through the NRL on 9 socials and also the comment section down below if you're watching us on YouTube. I've got the first Gibberer of the Week.
All right. Let's go.
US PGA Championship this week. This bloke's turned up to watch the practice round wearing a golf glove.
Well,
And that's incredible. They all wear
committed.
golf attire.
Well, they wear, you wear
Colours.
golf clothes, and as the gentleman at the bottom there who posted the photo says, he often sees golf shoes, but this is the first time he's seen someone walking around watching the golf with a golf glove on.
I'm more interested in what's in his hand, the can. Looks like a lovely big can.
And as it says there on the bottom, perhaps he's wearing the glove to try and insulate himself against the cold beer.
it's like the alternative to.
Yeah, but look
the
at it. Look,
beer
they've
cooler.
got T-shirts
the
on.
glove.
It's warm.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a gibberer. There's no doubt about that. Gibberer of the Week. We'll have some cracking nominations from all of our very many viewers out there. Well,
I'm going to
Magic-
say the Mona in Hobart
Oh, yes.
is one of the great museums, but parts of it are very kinky. Very kinky.
It's very
How
contemporary,
long
isn't
did
it?
you spend there?
About 3 hours.
When you say kinky, what do you mean?
Well, there's some kinky photos, kinky paintings. I showed Freddy a couple. The one with the kangaroo.
Oh,
It's heavy.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
The wall. There's a wall, plaster of Paris. The wall of
Just all vaginas.
yeah.
Right.
No, it's
I didn't expect to hear that word on Fred in the 8th today.
sort
Wall
of
of
a.
vaginas.
You know, you go and you have a look at paintings and you get up close and you have a look. The wall of vaginas. Everyone's sort of standing back. Do I get up close or not? There's only one person got right up and close.
He got kicked out. Only bloke ever to get kicked out of a museum.
He's been barred for life.
I got to say, it's an incredible place.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, move forward.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Magic Round up in Brisbane, I can tell you, having been there were a few punters that enjoyed themselves across the weekend
glad
as
I
well.
escaped.
A lot of passion and colour off the field, but on it there was only one story.
Now, look out, look out.
High tackle here. There's a problem here, a very big problem for Josh Papali'i. It's direct contact to the head with force. Contact's direct to the head. It's forceful. He's off.
You need to learn how to play with 12 players.
Lachlanberg, I don't think he could have done anything else.
And by Herman, essay. He must have missed the memo.
I don't want to see the sin bin or players sent off, but we have to take a stand.
Yes, plenty to talk about after the weekend. Andrew, having been away, we haven't heard your, I'm sure, forthright opinions on the high tackle crackdown at the weekend. What do you think about the outcome of what happened?
Well, I'm worried if it's putting more pressure on the referees. They have to come up with the discretion whether the contact was hard enough to go to the bin. Now, we use the sin bin mostly, or have mostly, for professional fouls. Now, professional fouls are deliberate. Pulling a leg, holding someone down when they make a break, running someone off the ball, holding someone off the ball if they make a break. It's a deliberate act. I think 90% of the shots around the head on the weekend were an accident. So accidents are going to happen in a high collision sport. Now, without boring everyone at home, footwork, tackling isn't necessarily about the shoulder. It's all about footwork, where you get your feet and driving and this. And the fraction of a second where you got to get your feet. Now, a player in particular is James Tedesco. Teddy gets in the line and drops. So your point of contact is here, and by the time the contact, we go to there, but he drops and hits the head. So what I'm saying is, for a high shot, I think it should be 5 minutes in the bin. I think 10 minutes is too big a punishment. 10 minutes for a professional foul where it's deliberate, but I think it's 5 minutes for any contact with the head, unless it's an out-and-out send-off like Fui Mayono and Josh Papali'i from Canberra. They both deserve to be sent off.
So we had a briefing with Graham Annesley, Brad, while we were up there at Suncorp.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Friday night.
I was there Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, did you want Graham on the... Okay. 'Cause
Yeah,
I did
so
one with
we
him.
spoke to him.
Yeah.
We spoke to him off air up there, and you mentioned accidental contact with the head, with players dropping. The one thing that the NRL has said is that they're not going to take into consideration if a player's dropping. They're going to say that their belief is that if you put yourself in a position to make a tackle high on the body, that you're putting yourself at risk and the tackler at risk.
Okay.
That's the NRL's position.
I was a low tackler when I played. My contact was at the hips. I reckon I had plenty of concussions playing. I reckon 90% of them was from defending low. So for every reaction, there's going to be consequence. So if you've got blokes tackling low, dropping their head, hitting hips, elbows, knees, you're going to get more concussions. I reckon more concussions from that.
You're a supporter of the action.
Actually, I hit your hip. I think.
Absolutely.
I think your
What
hip.
did you, with the aftermath and what everyone's had to say about it all, as you sit here this morning thinking about it, where are you at?
Well, I think a lot of people thought it was a shame it happened on Magic Round. I think that was the best place it could ever happen, having all the teams there at the one time. So it's the most serious.
I'm all for it too. I'm not against it.
It's the most serious topic in the game at the moment. You know, just watching James Tedesco over the last 3 weeks, and I agree with Joey, especially the one on the weekend
The
with
Lachlan Burr one.
Yeah, I totally agree that there's some players and some situations where the defender isn't entirely at fault, but we need to just make sure that, if you haven't got the ball, you just need to be more careful at times. And I think it's trying to take away, the unnecessary, all that stuff that's just on the perimeter of not being overzealous, but taking a little bit more care. And I think what we're trying to do is get that out of the game as much as possible. Lachlan Burr didn't get suspended. No. If you go over the games, South Sydney had someone suspended, they won. Canberra had someone suspended and sent off, and they won. Penrith had someone sin bin, and what happened during that time, the Titans couldn't score, and at the 10-minute mark when he came back on, that's when Herman Assesi, under the pressure of them trying to come up with something special, got himself sent off. So 10 minutes ain't going to cost you the game. If you feel like it's going to cost you the game, it will. But if you work out how to defend during that period, spoke to Victor Radley and he said that, we're dirty, we allowed 2 tries in that time. We practice with 12 players all the time. So I don't think the consequences is that severe. So I'm all for it. I feel like they missed some opportunities in the Dragons. I thought watching Josh Maguire before the game get interviewed, and he was a little bit just flippant about the new rules and how they're going. And he'd now have to tackle around the shoelaces and all this sort of stuff. He actually got suspended and should have got twice. He got sin bin once, I think, and should have got sin bin again for the hip drop.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to put to you, and I put something on Twitter about it, and I'm not normally vocal on Twitter, but I was pretty strong about this. To my way of thinking, I know that the concussion issue is a long-term one, but a more immediate risk to a player's well-being and possibly their career are these cannonball hip drop tackles. Now, Maguire got 5 weeks for that, and I think that suspension is totally appropriate given what he did. I know you've been strong on attacking kickers' legs, for instance.
It's a cheap shot. Even the Jack Whiten one. They can't see him coming, and someone's going to do their cruciate. And as you said, could finish their career.
Well, the hip drop one, the Maguire one, it was a blatant attempt. It's an intentional act, and it's only good fortune that someone's leg doesn't get snapped in half.
It's a shame 15 years ago when these tackles started, whether it was a chicken wing, a neck thing, you wonder what the referees were thinking at the time when they just didn't go, you know what, that's against, what's that rule? The spirit of the game. Let's give him 5 weeks and stop that right now. Why didn't they do it 15 years ago? And then they just allowed it to brew, and then they try to put rules around please. It's taken them 15, 20 years to get this nastiness out of the game. And it's come to hip drops. Hip drops are pretty much the last one where they've worked out a way to get them from behind. Like most of the other ones are from the front and trying to turn. This one's actually, you get them from behind, which it's even worse.
Well, hopefully the 5-week suspension gets that out of the game.
Well, it's out of the game. Well, it just has to be.
The worrying one for me was the Tyson Gamble one. When someone's about to score, you throw everything at the opposition. Now that one, Ruben Garrick, was it?
Yeah.
Sort of hit him around and sort of clipped him a little bit. But that's where it's going to be in trouble because when you're in desperation and you're trying to stop a try, your technique goes out the window. You just throw everything at it. Anything, everything and everything. So
if you get it wrong, you don't think that deserves
I'm going to say that's ones where it's going to be difficult for players when you're defending your line.
That's like when someone puts a kick through and you're standing wide. We've had a couple of blokes. Well, everyone gets players suspended when they've beat you and you shoulder them and push them out of the road. What you're saying is I'm valuing myself in the sin bin over giving a try away.
Well, you haven't got that time to think.
I know,
really.
but that's what your reaction tells you to do, isn't it? But Tyson Gamble, that was his second one. He necked someone earlier, which wasn't that bad either, but it was telling me Tyson Gamble's a couple of games back into first grade and he just wasn't quite up to it. So he needs to be able to focus more.
So I think in trying to find a middle ground for all this, and
that's the key, middle ground.
But perhaps the middle ground could be we've had a big crackdown, and the referees in the NRL have stamped their authority and their intentions about all this. Maybe this week, those accidental flicks around the face, maybe we'll pull back a little bit on those. Is that the middle ground?
Outside going back in time, that's ridiculous. Going backwards, You know, like going back 3 and 4 tackles. Like they actually started in round 4 when Penrith played Manly.
Yeah.
Mitch Kenny made the tackle, and they
false.
went 4 tackles later. They went back to the.
Yeah.
It was like a crusher, which was an accidental one. So, you know, outside that, you know, I think they're on the right path.
The other one that's been brought up, and I'm just wondering how you feel about all this, the possibility that when players sign their contract, that they sign a concussion waiver.
Of course. It's going to happen for sure.
You go into the game knowing it's a contact sport.
And you put your hand out for money and you play, you know the consequences.
I knew playing the game you could get hurt. And I
course
knew
you
every
did.
time I went and got an operation that, you know, there's a chance that it could hurt afterwards. That's the risk you take. That's the game, you know, and you know what, if you look after yourself, your body recovers pretty well. You know, concussions are a little bit different, and that's why we're taking it so serious. But, you know, when you put your hand up to play the game, you know what's happening.
Yep, totally. No, I've had some dramas with concussion stuff after I've retired, but that's the consequences. I knew I was getting myself into playing this game. It's, you know, if you're a boxer or a UFC fighter, you go in the ring, or what do they call it, octagon, knowing that there could be some consequences from putting everything on the line. I just think it's people who finish the game and start to sue for concussions. I think it's poor, really poor form.
All right, that's enough with dangerous tackles and head highs. Let's move on. Fast 5. True or false? The Titans were overhyped this season.
True.
It's getting that way, isn't it? I had such big hope for them. True.
Like the ball sings when they attack, but they just can't stop tries.
They seem to need everyone there. When Fafita's not there, they don't go as good. When Tino was there, they didn't go as good. They seem to need everyone there. So, yeah.
How do you get defensive resolve into a team, Andrew?
It comes from the individual. It comes from character. Where you just, you know, look at the way the top teams defend. The Storms are one. You know, they've got their systems, and Craig Bellamy cracks the whip, but it's no fluke. They recruit those players. They recruit certain players, and when they sign a player, they do so much background work on them about their character, how they train, what they do away from training, teamwork, all that sort of stuff. So it comes back to the individual and their character.
I've got to say, defending with the same people helps. You know, you hear their voices, you know what they do, how they react. So if you look at the Gold Coast team, I couldn't imagine many of those blokes have defended with each other over a long period of time. So that definitely improves your rhythm and, you know, your actions under pressure.
Is this the best chance Parramatta has had to win a comp since 2001?
They're going good. Oh, good. He was good, Jacob Arthur.
Yeah.
Did some good things.
Looks a real athlete, Joey. But when he grows into his body, he
well,
looks
he's
like
got
an
a lot of
absolute
growing
athlete.
He looks like a
Yeah.
10,000 metre runner.
He's, I've never seen a young guy work on his game as harder. Never in my time playing at the professional level since, the early 90s, I've never seen anyone want it as much as him. He works so hard on his game. So pleasing to see him play. And the reaction of his mates and his family.
That was
And
good.
even
The reaction of
teammates.
his dad.
His teammates when he scored. Because it was a tough decision for the coach, for Brad. Because he didn't want to see be playing favours and nepotism and all that sort of stuff.
Were you consulted in that decision?
Yeah, he spoke to me about it. But he spoke to the players, really. The players all said, yep, put him in there. He's ready
And
to go.
you advocated his selection?
Oh, definitely. I knew he was ready. And look, he had Ryan Madison defending on the inside. Did he have Wanga? Wanga Blake on the outside. Yeah. So he had experience. He knew he just had to do his job. But scoring the try at the end, that was
cold.
That was
What
incredible.
about the old man crying in the sheds? I didn't think
was-
Brad Arthur had any emotion in him.
Well,
No
that's
teardrops.
really surprised.
No
and his
teardrops left,
reaction in the
Brad.
coach's box,
Yeah,
great stuff.
it was really good to see. Speaking of emotion, how good was it to see the players jump up in the stands across the weekend and embrace the fans who couldn't get down to the fence? I think Brian Tortor signed his boots and gave them away. Players across all the
Benji?
clubs
No,
giving
the,
away
Man,
to
the Manly player was that
Ruben Garrick.
Garrick. There was a young lady in the disabled area. He
Yep.
couldn't get down, so he climbed the
Yep.
stairs.
It's great stuff, isn't it?
Mate,
good.
could we do 2 magic rounds during the year?
Oh,
No.
I don't know if we
I'll
could.
tell you what's
I don't know if we're
gold.
up for that, are we?
I'll tell you what was gold, the weather.
Yeah.
Oh,
Beautiful.
mate, it was just perfect. So the gods were shining.
Moses Mbai to the Dragons, maybe. They want him now. They signed Jared Beale yesterday, who'd been playing in the Queensland Cup for East Tigers, or Brisbane Tigers as they're now known. But they want Moses Mbai straight away. Could he help them?
Well, does that show their hand that they don't want to sign Corey Norman again. Ben Hunt's there for a couple more years. They've got Adam Clume in the halfback position. I was impressed with the young guy. Was it Amoni who debuted?
Junior?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
looked really
he's
good.
sharp. There's a couple of young kids coming through that are sharp. That Reece, Warriors fullback, Reece
Oh,
Walsh.
Reece Walsh.
Mate,
Wow.
phew,
But
he's
Moses is a
sharp.
5'8". They've tried him in other positions. They've tried him in centre. They've tried him at fullback. Tried him maybe at lock.
He's played hooker in a
Played
grand
everywhere.
final.
Played everywhere.
5'8's his spot. So
How much sleep are you going to get over the next fortnight, Freddie? Given the crackdown and suspensions, you name your team on May 30.
May 30. Can't wait. A lot of them in good form. I think Manly coming good. There's a few players, obviously, in New South Wales there, and their halfback, the Queenslander. He's going really good daily at the moment. But Penrith going good helps. Parramatta going good helps. Having those Sydney teams, the Roosters. So it's going to be some headaches.
Manly's
Yeah,
going
I'll say
great.
that, Manly,
I'd
yeah.
just say that.
Joe's going to pick his bench shortly, but I'm going to put my Ray Martin cap on. I'm going to quiz you. Okay,
right,
you
here we
ready?
go.
I want
Put
some
this
honest
away.
answers to some
Ray
hard
Martin
questions.
cap, is that like the stick-on wiggy?
That's right.
So like Lego. Just doesn't move.
Ryan Pappenhausen out this week, and given the magnitude of that tackle and concussion, etc., it'd be surprising to see him play the week after. I'd
He's had a
imagine.
tough couple of months.
He's played no football. He got a handful of minutes on the weekend. You name your team on May 30. If he doesn't play again before you name your team, will you pick him?
He's had a tough month. So I'll speak to Craig Bellamy. We're going to go down there. We're
that
down
a
in
no?
Melbourne.
Is that a no?
No, mate, we've got May 30. You said May 30.
If he doesn't play a game before May 30.
May 30. So we've got until May 30. Everyone's pencil at the moment. Everyone's in lead.
See, if I was Ray Martin,
No, we-
I'd keep drilling you on these
We'll keep
questions.
going. I'll just keep
But
talking
I'm
about
not
pencil
going
in
to.
there.
This is beautiful politician talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Would you be the Labor, Liberal? I'm pretty sure you might be in the Greens.
I'll be in the Greens for sure. I'll be the Greens.
You're Bob Brown driving your caravan around.
So assuming that Ryan Pappenhausen doesn't get picked, the forgotten man in all of this is Cody Walker. Is he still part of your discussions as a possible bench player?
Well, Cody, he was in the bench in Adelaide. And actually, the times he's come on in the second half, even the first game he played, he come on and made a massive impact. So, Cody's, even at 5'8", still doing a great job.
So you're still talking
with
about him?
Souths. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The combinations between him and Cookie and Latrell and, so I think especially if there are injuries over the next couple of weeks, combinations become much more important. Because, we sort of have a good idea of what we're looking for at the moment, and then you're just sort of holding your breath.
All right. So the headline is that Walker's still in contention.
Thank you.
Latrell's back this week too.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Against Penrith.
Souths needed an injection of something, don't they? Like, I know on the weekend that they got the job done. They were pretty comfortable in the end, but they haven't been at their best the last 3. Well, they got beaten 50-0. And Wayne Bennett said he saw that result coming. I reckon over the last month they've been a bit wobbly. Is that fair enough?
Definitely. The
Also
one
a
they
few
miss
players.
is the one they miss is Cam Murray in the middle. He provides a lot of that go forward. And off the back of him, Cookie goes. Then he brings Reynolds, Cody, Latrell into play. So he's the big one they're missing.
I could see South ambushing Penrith at Dubbo this weekend with Latrell back.
Yeah.
I could just see it.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't.
Penrith early in
Is
games.
that through beer goggles or just...
No, it's far too early for that.
Yeah. Not
No
your
one knows the
birthday.
time. We're indoors.
Not your birthday. Different rules on your birthday.
yes. I don't know, just to feel, Dubbo,
Yeah.
neutral ground.
Souths are a pretty big side. I think Penrith, Canberra did it. Melbourne, I think, did it. Where if they get to them early, bigger teams, 'cause they're not that big, but if you're in the battle, once that first 20-minute period's over, they just seem way too good, way too connected.
Another hypothetical for you. Next year with Adam Reynolds going to Brisbane, could Cody Walker play halfback and Latrell play 5'8" for South?
No, not Latrell 5'8". Cody could play halfback for sure. Last year there was Reynolds was out with a knee injury for about 4 weeks.
I think he played Dragons.
Cody was like,
Yeah, at Cogra.
Incredible.
Was that
yeah.
Cogra?
Yeah. Well, he went off. He went off early in the game,
Yeah.
Reynolds, yeah.
yeah.
So Latrell, no.
Well, with the new rules, no, not Latrell 5'8", no. No,
Benji, what's Benji doing?
Well, we don't know yet.
Right.
He's been telling everyone that he's done, but who
Right.
knows?
been a great story, Benji coming back.
Oh, fantastic.
Some of those passes.
You know what? It wasn't easy either. He had those years of Balmain where it wasn't easy, and then it's good he's going to finish on a high note.
Well, people forget he went to Brisbane, had a season where he played a handful of games, went to the Dragons.
Auckland Blues, went to
Played
Rugby.
for Auckland Blues. I mean, there's a period of, 4 or 5 years there where he didn't really achieve all that much, but it's been an amazing renaissance.
The lost weekend, like John Lennon.
Yes, that's right. Broncos revolving door. Now, we spruiked Nico Hines on the weekend because all those big guns that were out for Melbourne, it was his chance to really show that he's a top-line first-grade player, and he was picked at 5'8", had to go back to fullback when Pappy went off. If you're the Broncos,
Fullback.
you're looking at Nico Hines, surely.
He's a good fullback. Good fullback. He's tall,
that can
he's
play,
fast.
that can play anywhere in the
Good
back
ball
line.
player, yeah. Brisbane need a fullback.
The only worrying thing for me, I only see 2 players who have really kicked on after leaving Melbourne, going to another club. Israel was one. Israel Folau, he went to Brisbane.
Greg?
And the other one's obviously Greg. Any other players who have just gone...
Well, Tino's going well.
Tino,
in a
but
team
he
that's
was in
not
the
going
junior
that great.
system there.
Yeah.
I hope he stays down there.
He wants a starting spot, though. He's been
Where's he
pretty
gonna
vocal
play?
about
Yeah,
that.
well, he'll obviously have to go elsewhere.
But he's a pretty valuable commodity on the open market, someone that can play fullback. But, a team could buy him as a 5'8", couldn't they?
I see him more as a 5'8".
Yeah, okay.
So he played his junior footy. When he was at Manly, he was a 5'8" there.
I think it's more important to have a good fullback than it is to have a good 5'8".
Okay.
I think you need the fullback is
Especially if you sign with
invaluable.
Brisbane need a fullback, desperately.
Well, Brisbane have a new halves combination, I think, for the 6th time this year. Albert Kelly's in, Anthony Milford's gone.
I like Albert Kelly as a player. It's a shame he left.
30 now.
Yeah, I think it's a shame he left, but what he is, he's pretty big. He's a big, strong bloke. He's got a good balance. I really hope it works because he's a good player. Good player.
Apparently the Titans are interested in Anthony Milford.
Really?
Yep.
I watched him closely from above the last couple of weeks we've done, and there is just no urgency to get in the play from Anthony. So the question's got to be, does Anthony still want to play? Because what I'm seeing at the moment, it doesn't look like, one, he's enjoying his footy, or he doesn't want to play.
It's a bad place to be. It's a hard game if you don't want to be there.
Especially when you're getting flogged.
What about,
It's
what about,
awful.
what about
you turn up
towards
to
the
training,
end?
getting flogged, then you go on a game, you get belled around because you're just not into it. It's like, oh, this is torture.
You have some of those moments when you get to the end of your career and you're hearing the big hits, you just can't. Do I really? Or you're in the sheds before the game and the ball boys are eating a pie and you're going, geez, I wish I was eating that pie.
I had to stop watching reserve grade because it's just, those noises. You're sitting there, oh, I better go and do that.
You've got to be all in. You can't be 90% in.
Could a change of club, though, help
Yeah,
reinvigorate
absolutely.
him?
Absolutely.
Well, once again, if he still wants to play, that's the key. Prepared to do the hard work. You look at Anthony when they lost the grand final, was that 15? To where he is now, as in body shapes and fitness and speed, there's a big difference there. So if he wants to do the hard work, without a doubt, but the question's got to be, do you still want to play?
So you have a look at some of the recent selections for Kevin Walters with Tyson Gamble coming in. He's been a journeyman in the Queensland Cup. Albert Kelly, who's been in England and 30 now, has got a lifeline back in the NRL. Carmichael Hunt was supposed to play this week but suffered a knee injury on the weekend. He's 34 years old. These are only Band-Aid solutions for
Something's
Brisbane,
broken
aren't they?
in the
Purely.
club.
Purely Band-Aid. Like
Is that the
I
way to
said,
go, though? I mean, is
The
this...
club's there. There's something wrong with the club at the moment because they can't win. Well, they can't even fluke a win. So it tells you, like, any time there's any pressure on, they just go, oh, God, I'm out. I'm out. They give in so easy.
Broken. Recruitment, development, junior coaching, which I've been talking about pretty much all year. Similar to my old club, Newcastle. Something's broken in the system. Not producing players. Not producing quality halves or dummy half.
They've got a few. Newey's got a few coming through. Braden Musgrove, Bradman Best.
Yeah, but mate, I'm not talking about
I
those.
know, I'm just saying, but
talking
these kids are actually coming through
Yeah.
the system. So, if anything,
I'm talking halves
Jones,
and hooker. Who
Phoenix.
wins games for you? Halves, hooker, fullback. That word spine. Have a look at their spine, Brisbane, compared to other clubs. And Brisbane's a superpower. Most money, most corporate support. Something's broken in their system.
Wasn't a magic round for the Broncos at the weekend, but it was certainly a magic round of rugby league. Let's look back at some of the highlights from the weekend.
Magic round here at Suncorp Stadium. Where else would you want to be if you're a footy fan? Let's do it. Tommy Turbo for Manly.
Watch Tommy.
Tom Trbojevic gives a pass to his brother Jake. Saab underneath and takes it and scores. Bradley up the middle. Walker! He scores! Home, foul's clear. He's got support. Nine, the Cowboys straight up the middle. He goes to Crichton. That's out of this world. Ravaloa for 3 tries. Happy with what he's a try scoring great. He's got 3 now with his 6th from last week. One of the great weekends on the Rugby League calendar.
Yes, it's not far away now. State of Origin. Cannot wait. Best time of the year. Andrew Johns.
Yes.
Whiteboard time. The bench. And an 18th man.
Okay.
Did you ever get called Andy?
No. Okay, my number 14.
We can start calling you Andy if you like.
Call me whatever you want. I've been called many things. Depending on fitness, Pappenhausen can play anywhere. Halfback, 5'8", fullback, even maybe for 10 minutes.
Craig Wing style.
Craig Wing. Picks himself. His form's been a little bit down like the Knights, but he rolls forward.
Yeah, it's been good for
I
him.
thought last year, in a beaten series, he was one of New South Wales' best.
His second stints have been a lot better than his first stints.
So would you think he starts?
Yeah, I don't know.
I heard
spoke to
James
him.
Graham talking about him on TV.
What was
last
he saying?
couple- Just says he's the best front rower in the world.
Yeah, right.
Big rap from a fellow front rower.
Yeah. He knows his stuff.
Tyson, I think he's been the Knights' best this year without a doubt. He's carried that team. Question marks over Cam Murray, but can play him on an edge, can play him in the middle. Good speed around the ruck. I think coming off the bench, you could really pick the pace up. That's what you need off your bench. Someone to get this, change the speed of the game. And I've got Regan at 17.
It's been good, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been good.
2 tries on the weekend.
Talking to Brad Arthur about him, he said he's a better starter. Just let him get out there. And he was the same thing about Daniel Safeti. He said his second knockers, when he comes back on, is usually his best. And
18th.
This broke me, not putting Jake in.
Wow.
Jakey, once again, slow start to the year because Freak Street wasn't there. But you know you're going to get off Jake. Defensively, incredible defensive style and way he tackles, but also in attack, the way he links in the middle of the field. I just think at the moment, Victor has got his nose in front with his ball playing especially.
So Victor's playing 80 minutes?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. That's the job of the coach to sort that. Does he play 80?
Yep.
I think different in the middle. And if he's playing...
Well, we don't think he is playing. So you get to do your Mulligan selections
yeah.
next week,
Is that next week?
which could give Jake Trbojevic a lifeline.
Well, exactly. Well, Tyson would go in there. Isaiah Yeo, I contemplating Isaiah Yeo on the bench. He'd be a good bench because he started out in the centres.
Yeah.
Play him on the edge. He went to the edge, but he also plays that in the middle, where you could play anywhere, really. Isaiah, you could put him on the wing.
Yeah, we needed a break on the right-hand side, actually, and he was the one that came up with it, playing at centre because of
It
injuries.
was too, yeah. Is that when the Fox kicked it?
Yeah.
Should
that's
have been
it.
a penalty try.
There you go.
Anyway,
Nathan Brown, think about him?
very much so. But once again, stack of fullbacks firing, stack of locks firing. Him, Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Brown.
What about what we talked about with Brad earlier? If Pappenhausen doesn't make it, you're looking for another utility.
Well, I was thinking about this, and the utility is, you mentioned Craig Wing, the Badiris Craig Wing was a 1-2 punch. Whether Cook doesn't play 80 and you have Coruscant on the bench, with all his, which totally changes the way he plays, because Cook is obviously a running dummy half, where Coruscant's got that trickery around the ruck. Combines
He's played in
well
the
with
halves
him.
a bit too, Coruscant.
Yeah.
Cody Walker, Jack Bird, King Clint.
Well, he's not going to play, so Jack Bird comes into contention there.
Nice.
Good
Swings
team.
and roundabouts.
All right, there's Joey's Origin 18. The magic of Origin is just about upon us. Covering plenty of ground on Freddy in the 8th this week. A serious topic, though. Andrew, the Newcastle Knights. Awful performance on the weekend. Talk about a review 10 weeks into the season. Top-to-toe review. On-field, off-field, administration, reception staff.
Who's tweaked this or who's spat this out?
The CEO was asked about it and actually said
And confirmed it.
we're looking at a review.
Well, if
top
you're
to toe.
If you're going to do that, wouldn't you do it in-house, not let anyone know? Because it just puts more external pressure on the place.
Not great when you're talking reviews 10 weeks into the season.
Well, talking about the Broncos, something's broken in the junior system there. Now, when the Knights started in '88, they had a junior coaching base of David Waite. Alan McMahon set it up. A guy called Keith Onslow, who did a lot of the junior coaching and oversaw it all. A guy called Alan Bell. Anyway, they had all these structures in place and philosophies of how the juniors should play. Now, very similar to Penrith, what Gus did. 5 years after that, in the early to mid-90s, all these local juniors started coming through. 97, Newcastle won the comp with, I think, 15 local juniors. 2001, they won the comp with about 14, 15 local juniors. Where are they now? So they're there, but the coaching, something in the juniors isn't working, whether it's the transition from juniors to seniors. In my opinion, I think it's the coaching of the juniors coming through. Not only Newcastle, right through. They're structuring up kids too much. Perfect example of this is Sam Walker. If you want to produce a halfback, go and talk to Ben, his father, and Shane, his uncle. Maybe not Chris, his uncle. Actually, Chris is doing a lot of good things at the moment, doing a walk for charity. How they mentored their son or nephew to play footy.
Maybe the Walker brothers should be in charge of development at Newcastle.
Mate, you've got to let them play. And you've got to let halves play touch footy. Let them play touch footy. They can learn their trade without being bashed.
How's participation in Newcastle juniors?
It's strong.
Yeah.
It's really strong.
So there shouldn't really be
Mate,
any...
they're there, but the coaching is wrong for whatever reason.
It's hard to keep, like, you know, Joey, that era between 97 and 2 when you were playing, what happens too is any other good halfback that comes through ends up going somewhere else because Joey's playing halfback. So sometimes when your club's winning, it's hard to have that filter system working because it's sort of, they have to get farmed out because there's just not enough.
Well, Penrith.
There's
It's
not enough
happened to
jerseys.
Penrith at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So
You got
it's about picking those right ones. That's the key. It's about keeping the right ones. Well, that's what Melbourne have done so well. Keeping the right ones and bringing in good ones that add to your club.
And I'm not talking other positions. I'm purely talking half, 5'8", dummy half, fullback. Not necessarily fullback. Halves, hookers. Where are
You
they?
say that, I reckon though, if I look at the Roosters, Jared's the most valuable player for the Roosters, I'd say.
I reckon Victor.
Yeah, but two middle people. Victor's a bit of a halfback, but I think when Jared doesn't play, they're not as good.
So it mightn't be this easy, but if there was something you could tweak there now within that team to try and get a spark in there, make them more competitive each week, from what you're seeing, what would you do?
I have no idea.
Well, their best player's not playing. You look at Manly.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. When Kalen's there, they are very one pace. They lack creativity. But then there's the other thing. You look at the Roosters. You look how they're going without their best players.
They just scrap, don't they? They scrap hard.
They defend well.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to defend. Newcastle can't defend. Yeah. I do. A couple of those young blokes have done some good things. Like they're scoring some tries.
Yeah.
So, Phoenix and that come up with some,
Stafford
some
Toa's
points.
done some really good things.
so
but mate, Bradman,
their
they've
defence
got
is
to
poor.
work how to bring Bradman into play. You've got a strike player out there. I remember a few years ago I was talking about Latrell when he was at the Roosters. I said, you've got a Ferrari in the garage and you don't bring it out to drive it. They've got to work out plays and how to get in the ball, where to get in the ball, and how to manipulate defences where you get him one-on-one or going at different angles. At the moment, I don't think they know how to bring him into play.
Well, they get a chance against the Cowboys. You'll see it here on 9. Thursday night up in Townsville. Cowboys going pretty good. I know they were beaten at the weekend, but that game was in the balance in the second half. In fact, they could have drawn level with that
A couple
penalty
of
kick
their
from
young
Valentine.
back rowers. Tom Gilbert, been impressive.
Tom Gilbert's playing front row.
Mitch Dunn.
Mitch Dunn, I've been really impressed with him.
He's a good player. Condon's been put to the extended bench, so he's just needs a bit of a
Gee,
rest.
the hook as a player, Reece Robson.
Oh yeah, yep. He's gone up and up and up.
Mate, and Granville has too.
Explosive out of dummy half.
Yeah.
Granville's complimented too. He's had some big games. Joe Granville coming
Probably
off the
suits
bench.
him going back to the bench at this stage
Yeah,
of his career.
absolutely.
Reece Robinson looks like a footy player. He looks tough.
Quick.
Illawarra player.
Yeah.
He grew up there. He come through the New South Wales system. Him and Tom Starling were actually together come through. They should have seen them destroy joints.
Together, as in like
Partners.
They don't drink when Freddy's in charge of teams. You know that. It's all meditation.
I'm just
and
trying to look
birthing.
at. I'm trying to look at Tom Starling, Reece Robinson. Geez, the offspring would be a good player.
And then Friday and Sunday footy here on 9. Derbies. We've got the Sharks Dragons derby. What a game. and then the Eels versus Manly. Now this, I cannot wait to watch this at Bankwest. It'll be a full house and this will be a cracker.
Everyone at school, in primary school, used to sing this song. Here we go again. Manly and Para.
Para's well ahead, but the gap starts to narrow.
Do you know Manly?
It was an alcohol ad too. Just grooming everyone for
Just
just...
goes to show what an
I'm not trying to spruik our friends at Sportsbet, but Manly are $3.
You thump 'em, bump 'em,
Pick him up and dump him. Manly's coming back. Crusher keeps him coming.
Crusher keeps on going. Oh yes, great times. The
And
80s.
it used to be around the same time, the footy franks. And I remember we should be able to find a footy franks ad. I remember Ray Higgs was in that ad.
What's a footy frank?
They used to do this little stutter thing going on. Anyway, it was a footy franks ad. They were the little sausages,
Oh, good for your breath.
Yeah.
little snags.
What do you think? Eels v Manly. I know Bankwest is a big advantage for Parramatta, who are humming along, but, Turbo's
Oh,
there.
this will be close, this game. Really close.
Cade Cuss coming in at 5'8". I wonder how Josh Schuster, there was a few options there.
He'll play 5'8", won't he?
No, Custer's
Cuss.
been named.
Oh,
at 5'8".
Custer's, okay.
I was down at Mona Vale Beach, all the old blokes down there. They were hoping Schuster was going to 5'8". All mad Manly supporters. So
There's a crossword mafia down Manly way.
absolutely. At Mona Vale, they're not into the crosswords. They just sit there and just
Bitch.
give me bitch about the world and enlighten us on what's going on. Some good dudes down there.
All right, big weekend of rugby league. Cannot wait. Kicking off Thursday, then Friday, and then Sunday. Andrew, happy
birthday.
Oh,
Thank you.
happy. That's been there for 3 weeks, but happy birthday nonetheless.
I got a funny story. I had a birthday party down the pub at the Burwood one time, and my mate cooked the cake.
How'd your mum go?
I said to Mum, whatever you do, don't eat the cake. Just a lot of calories. Well, the next morning, my mum rang me and said, I think I had the best night of my life last night.
Slept like a baby.
Dancing on tables. Anyway, thank you very much.
Enjoy your day.
I will do. I'm working
Enjoy the
all day.
weekend, Freddie. I'll see you out there at the footy. You enjoy your weekend as well.
Have you got a special this weekend at all?
A special.
For all our desperates at home.
It's for all the desperates. I think Manly. Manly good odds.
I've been looking at it lately, and if you back the top teams, Penrith Storm, Parramatta and just put them 13 plus. You would have been rolling in it.
No one's, well, one team outside the top 5 has beaten a top 5 team. St George beat Para. That's the only time those 5 teams have been beaten by outside.
So if you don't want to be greedy, just all up them and just, a little bit of change.
You done?
go.
Bit of drinking silver. Thank
All
you.
sweet. Ta-da.
Jeez, this is nice.